Chapter 11 Cerabro. Our reality's variable limb, an equation transfinite, disparity via polarity and prosperity, possibilities swirl of a poem, to us in scope infinite, clarity via similarity, each a rarity. Math's end and start, unwritten, each moment a note, each choice awaken, procedural generation following, all haiku at heart, singing numbers in throat, all choices taken, false freedom shadowing, realms, rhythm holds forever firm, spiraling, power top thin and large ton, dimensions align and allied to term, spiraling power within until only one, trapped by remains, after death comes youth, transfinite poem equation equals haiku, endless in pains with endless agony truth, transfinite choices dissuasion, all made by you, equals endless cycle turns, clock hands tracing yesterday, tomorrow returns. There are rumors of giant squid-like ships seen in the bugs sectors, of four-legged fabricator tanks the size of a light automaton base, flying bugs whose existence Super-Earth blatantly denies. Usually every story has some particle of truth in it. That particle just ends up inside a synchrotron or cyclotron accelerator. I feel that moment happening to me right now. The Devastator removed its chest armor and fitted it over my armor. Old Gold translated that I needed to use the Commissar's flare gun to summon a transport. The Devastator's armor has connectors for attaching to the dropship. I take a well-earned sleep during the trip. I lose track of time, and honestly, at this point, it doesn't matter what time it is. I wake up to falling a few feet into the snow. The trip must have been a few hours. I feel rested enough to be functional. I get up unharmed and follow a small procession to a command bunker at the top of the fortress. They stop me at the door. Gold translates how they want me disarmed. First things first, I remove the Devastator's armor. Then I give them my stun grenades and survival knife. I then take out the P4 Senator Mataba auto revolver. I remove the bullets from the cylinder and tell them via translation to give this pistol to Joel. The Commissar's faceless head turns diagonally to express confusion. It'll make sense when he gets it. They point to the prototype P.A.L.G.E.N stim pistol in my leg holster. I unlock the cylinder to show only one needle in the tranquilizer chamber. I'm keeping this. It's a medical gun. The tranquilizer is loaded with deadly neurotoxin. I won't allow you to steal my brain. If I think you intend to do so, I'll poison myself. This seems to spark controversy among the automatons. Gold tells me they are seeing if Joel will allow me to before him with that stim pistol. After about a minute, I'm granted an audience with arguably one of, if not the most powerful being in the galaxy. I'm surprised I'm not restrained. I walk up to a clear round aquarium with tubes feeding liquids in the top and tubes taking liquids out through the bottom. Vash is next to the display. Inside the aquarium lines a gray brain. Macabre decorations of wires and processor chips are integrated into the thinking flesh loaf. I decide to take the initiative by confidently stating my titles and accomplishments along with my name during this introduction. It could be an effective way of establishing dominance. I read that in a digital comic book once. I take a deep breath, activate old gold again, so he's facing the brain and brine broth, and ready myself for what pains me the most. Old gold's translation becoming the bridge between my species' greatest enemy and this Helldiver. I'm interrupted.
I know who you are.
Hello, Joel.
Hello, great-grandson.
I am Jonathan Mansley Brash, also known as many heroes before myself as the alias John Helldiver. I am the great-grandson of Joel Jonathan Brash. This is how I quickly climbed the bureaucracy and got my multiple super secret clearances. This is how I was able to inject myself with a 100-year-old super soldier stim, the type that made Joel what he has become. How Old Gold's outdated program is arguably superior to newer models. How Gold made the unknowable known and the impossible possible by contacting Joel directly. This had been more than a covert plan. It was a victorious strategy. So far, that is. The granted audience with Joel had been accepted. Now we see what kind of deal he has to offer.
Tell me, do they still play my voice at the Helldiver training facility?
They do. Let's get to the point.
The point is you do not yet realize your importance. You have only begun to discover the power of Project P.A.L.G.E.N. Join me and I will complete your training. With our combined strength, we can end this democratic conflict and bring order to the galaxy.
I'll never join you in that cerebral soup.
You don't know the utopia that is automaton socialism. Here in my mind I live as an immortal in a purely digital world as a digital intelligence. My digital mansion holds every work of literature, every theatrical story and every sensation is freely available. I practice martial arts, fight directly in the war with drones, I skydive without a parachute into my mansion's pool and then swim in it before I defy gravity and fly away. I've written my own sword and sorcery novel about a sword and shield hero with 3 attackers and a cleric that is also the cook. But the cleric's condition of joining the party is that they will only eat and drink his cooking. Their quest is to kill a vampire. It ends with the party defeated but not dead. Then the cleric begs the vampire to turn him first. The vampire bites the cleric and everything above the shoulders of the vampire is destroyed. The cleric then admits that he's been having the group drink nothing but holy water for months. I eat deep-fried bald eagle for breakfast, a panda burger for lunch and manatee steak for dinner. There is no resource conflict. Our entire population can provide their minds as processing power against any question, problem, or project. Greed, envy, in fact almost all selfishness is pointless. We have eliminated ignorance, hunger, poverty, disease, almost all crimes and government, and many more horrors of the human condition.
I'm not ready to give up on the real world just yet. I know the automatons are not the unified force Super Earth believes. Some of your own combatants are adhering to a chaos code, convincing them there is no possibility of peace, and acts of torture are acceptable.
There will always be room to grow, and that taboo you bring up wasn't done due to an error in our socialist system. It was done by an individual exploiting an error in our system. Every single citizen connected to our network knows of that atrocity. Lying is impossible when your own memories are accessible. Crime against other automatons is programmed to be impossible or at least unallowable by the possible victim. However, we are at war, and a trooper found a loophole in our programming regarding the treatment of captured soldiers.
Just tell me your proposition already.
I want you to do what Helldivers do. You will be given a super destroyer filled with automatons and missions to eliminate rogue automatons or rogue networks.
Because you programmed out the ability to harm your own kind, regardless if they are breaking your laws.
Not quite. Exploiting, manipulating, or abusing our laws is exceptionally difficult. The only way not to get caught or punished is to never reconnect to our network, so we can't simply turn off their perceptual input. It would lock them inside their brain. Think of it as solitary confinement via sensory deprivation. We can hold them until we create a plan for rehabilitation. You could also think of it as bad public relations. Us killing our own devolves us to being human.
I'll agree to do this on one condition.
Stated.
You will release a human hostage you're holding.
Your terms are acceptable. Name the human.
Joel Jonathan Brash. I quick draw my prototype pistol tranquilizer gun and fire into one of the clear rubber-like polymer feeding tubes. The automatons move to attack me, but Joel binaries them to stop.
Johnny, that dart won't penetrate anything, and I'm not a hostage.
However, you are the one who is responsible for the farms releasing the Terminids. You're the one who started the war. Old Gold showed me the automaton code within your clearance executing it.
I admit it. I started the Second Galactic War. Super Earth has to be put to a point where they will accept that war isn't a survivable option. You can't stop a zealot, that only makes them more zealotic. You have to force them to accept change. I accepted it. That's why I'm now a member of humanity's next step in evolution.
From my point of view, you have Stockholm Syndrome. A small black liquid had eaten through the clear tube. It flows into and with the aquarium current. I continue. Psychological manipulation, pragmatic disillusionment, the impact of isolation, and the rewards of your digital wealth are bad enough without me seeing them literally brainwash your brain.
I have already converted to a digital intelligence years ago. This brain is little more than a reference point.
A copy of you isn't the real you. I'm setting you free, even if it makes this a suicide mission.
Ah, I see what you've done. Very clever. The needle wouldn't penetrate, but the contents eat through the tubing. I forgive you, Johnny. The automatons will honor our deal. In fact, when you are ready, they will let you replace me. I'll patiently wait for that day on the other side. Time will prove to you my truth will become reality.
My great-grandfather was spaghettified by the dark fluid before he knew it. Both the brain and the aquarium were pulled into the micro-black hole before the singularity stabilized and collapsed. His copy lives on in their computer databank. It has the common sense not to try to engage in discourse with me. Old Gold asks me what we are going to do now. I tell him our plan hasn't changed. First, we need to alter Joel's terminated cage codes to look like Super Earth did start the war instead of General Bot Brash. Gold looks at me dubiously. "You don't find any of this hypocritical?" Hypocrisy is the chief export and currency of humanity. Even so, I'll lie and kill to keep mankind from the Reaper's grasp. Gold shrugs in a manner that is unreadable. Compared to all that humanity has lost, this effort to free my father's father's father and save what is left of the humanity of mankind may be of the highest hubris. To demand of fate any significance in keeping man among the stars. Nevertheless, I know destiny is moving chains, unbreakable and flexible. You can hurt yourself resisting their pull, be dragged by them, or use their momentum to make yourself unstoppable. A juggernaut for the light of liberty and the hellfire of freedom. I am not delusional. I am no hero, no anti-hero, nor a villain. I'm an anti-villain. For what could be more monstrous than to defy the fate of mankind's extinction in the face of impossible odds? Now my reign of terror begins. I only hope I have it within myself the power to be terrible. I don't deny that Joel Jonathan Brash could have been right. I may have murdered him unjustly, just as he unjustly started the death count of trillions in this war. I remember that the automaton's DI is still inherently human, being not beyond the human condition, but one being denied the human condition, being denied an innate instinctual identity. Perhaps the answer doesn't lay with attacking that shatter point. Perhaps it lays in solving the agony that prevents inner peace for the automaton's immortality. Granting all humanity that kind of immortality in the face of death might just be the path to peace. My first step must be to get translation software installed into Helldiver helmets. Once communication is possible, the truth will become an eventuality. Make no mistake, I loved my great-grandfather, and I had to see him both freed and pay for his crimes. Judge me as you see fit, reader, because in truth, there is nothing anyone can do to change the future I intend to bring. After all, I have embraced the unstoppable destiny of John Helldiver. End log, June, Friday the 4th, 2184.